Welcome to our review of The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 10. Inmates. Sorry about that. Forgot for a second. I'm Kim Horcher, and I'm joined by Iadarola and Andrew Fogel, a new face, but a cinephile and a director and producer here for us at the Young Turks.
And a professional zombie hunter.
And he hunts zombies with the League of Steam. So we start this episode with Darryl and Beth. This was shot kind of in an anthology style, where we got to check in on all the other survivors. Starting with Darryl and Beth. Beth, ironically, is reading her journal of how things are looking up, and it's nothing but rosy skies ahead, y'all. But now we know not so much.
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, I know that they played with time. Obviously, you see a scene from one character's point of view, and then they go back to show how it happened. But when you have that stuff out of order, and you have the diary being read in the present day, but referencing earlier stuff, and then she destroys it and then reads more, for me, it was a little bit confusing. I think in the end, I know what was going on, but I don't feel like that was necessary. Like, there's already a ton going on that we want to check in with all the groups. I don't know why they had to mess with the space-time continuum like that.
I think the major theme of this episode was uncertainty and having faith, but also the other side of that, which is despair. So we had her talking with Darryl a little bit about Herschel'S death. He says, where'd your dad's faith get him now? He's dead. And we kind of go back and forth. Well, it's true though, it's true.
Darryl.
He is dead. And she hopes that they'll find people. He thinks it's probably not as fruitful as she would guess. Darryl is right.
Yeah. No, but I love too that her childish protest. She's like, you should track. You're not gonna track? I'm gonna track. And so this untrained tracker runs off into the woods at night. Good luck. That's really gonna turn up a lot.
I think, at these moments people have desperation. They make very dumb moves, as we've seen before.
Constantly dumb
moves.
moves.
Seems to be a theme in this show.
Yeah.
Not the most wise things. We also saw the return of our favorite mom, Carol.
Yeah.
Who apparently had just been hiding out around the prison, just waiting for something to happen so that she could come back.
Today's Carol's day. Shit went down.
She was looking for them. She saw the end of the battle, as she said, but her car's gone. And we have the other surprise of baby Judith is not a zombie or food. She's alive.
No explanation for exactly
I think
why.
I think Lizzie and Mika had her.
I thought it was visible at the end of the first half of the season that he had her. Like, you could see he was holding something as he ran away. I think at the time we said that had to be her, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I don't know.
So we're supposed to assume that the whatever cut on his arm that he had is why there was blood all over the baby carrier?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I had forgotten about how bloody it was, but yeah, and so it was interesting that you had like impromptu babysitting was like the adventure of the day.
Tyreese and daddy daycare. He seemed like a good father, though. He had very good advice for Mika, who was scared. Lizzie just threw the diaper out in the forest, which I thought was weird. But
a zombie's definitely gonna eat that.
What did you think of the little girls? I mean, we did see the return of Psycho Lizzie.
She was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I had been kind of like I was getting kind of bored with the episode when she started to get that crazy look in her eyes again. She looked all Gollum.
I'm going to smother this baby.
Yeah. So that got it to be more exciting. I think it's weird though, I understand they want to show that she's a psycho, and that's what makes her interesting as a character, what this constant PTSD can do to a person. I like that. But the fact that she was so obsessed with it that she couldn't tell that zombies were coming for them, she's still a human. She still wants to survive, because that's the other thing about her is that she will survive at all costs.
Did you see her kill that rabbit?
I didn't remember the rabbit.
She just killed a rabbit in front of them, and
for some reason I missed
Mika
that,
said something like, you don't understand the walkers either. So I think this is going to lead up to maybe a frightful end for Lizzie. We already see that The Walking Dead isn't...
I think Mika will die before Lizzie.
Isn't willing to... No, I think someone's going to put her down. That's what I think is going to happen.
Oh. Well, okay, so we actually have the possibility of that happening any day now, because Carol rejoined not just any group, but she joined the group with Tyreese. Tyreese eventually is going to...
great choice. I think that's going to lead to some really interesting tension.
Yeah, well, because the thing is, either Carol actually did it, as she admitted to, killing Karen a long time ago, actually, by this point, or she could be still covering for Lizzie. But in either case, the person is in the group with Tyreese, and so the question really is, when he finds out, would he kill Carol and or Lizzie? We know he's crazy. You don't think he'd kill either of them?
No, he seemed like he
really like Karen.
He had very good paternal skills. He seemed very grateful when Carol showed up to help him. I do think that not all 3 of those people will make it to the end of the season.
You're talking about Carol, Lizzie, and Tyreese?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 of them will die.
Yeah, I mean, Lizzie definitely has shown that she doesn't have the natural, like, fear of walkers that you need to have to live here. Like, she thinks that she can play with them, so that could lead to her death. I think that if they really want to mix things up and shock people, like, her smothering the baby would have been that, but him killing Lizzie, like, killing a child, like, that would be a very bold move to make.
That would be a bold move for television, because
Exactly.
you're not expecting that.
Yeah, but if she killed Karen, like, can you really fault him? Like, she's not safe to be around.
I mean, that's that same logic. Like, we need to kill this one person to save the group. I want to move on to one of my favorite scenes of this episode, which was we get to take focus back to Maggie. Maggie is with Sasha and Bob. Maggie wants to find Glenn at all costs. So she follows where she thinks the bus went. She finds the bus. And we spent a lot of time seeing her despair but willingness to push forward and find out facts for real on her own, like, instead of just having faith, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the whole scene with, like, clearing out the bus. I didn't love the way they showed the last walker that she killed, like, hiding whether it was him or not.
See, it looked like Glenn from the back, which makes us feel scared for losing Glenn, and we understand, like, how she's thinking.
She's crying.
And she's crying. Is this happy crying? Is this sad crying?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, so that bothered me a little bit. I thought it was interesting, too, that you had her and then later Tara, which we're going to talk about, that they're evidence that, man, I'm going to power through is causing massive destruction to a skull. Like, that's how they indicate that they still have fire inside them, like her smashing against the bus.
I've always wondered, are walker skulls particularly thin? Because they seem to just bash right in.
Because if you can just stick a knife into somebody's head like that, or an arrow, you know, bones don't work that way. So obviously they.
Well, and Michonne, that explains why she doesn't have to sharpen the sword. I think that the idea is that it gets weaker because they're decaying or something.
It can still walk, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still a show. I don't know, but
the logic there doesn't make sense to me.
That's the suspension of disbelief of this show.
Exactly. Yeah, and look, they're eventually going to run into each other because they didn't make the decision, the creators, I should say, to kill one or the other. If I had to choose, I would say get rid of Maggie because Glenn is pretty awesome.
No, they're going to kill Glenn because it would be devastating.
Yeah, but it would be devastating to a character that I don't think most people are as emotionally invested to. It would be devastating for Glenn if Maggie died, but we actually really like Glenn.
Oh, no, it's devastating to the audience because we like Glenn.
I'm trying to think of the big characters that they've killed. Like, we've had some big ones, including like Herschel, Andrea, Shane. I've never had to go through losing a character in this show that I really cared about. I liked Shane was interesting, but that's one of the big differences between this show and like a Game of Thrones, where they also will randomly kill people, but I've lost characters I love in that show. I don't know what it's going to be like in The Walking Dead when an actual fan favorite like a Glenn or a Daryl, when they die.
They're not going to kill Daryl. Did you see how much merch they have based on Daryl?
Oh, yeah.
It's not feasible.
Yeah, they probably won't do that.
So we did find out that Glenn did make it off the bus of red shirts, which is good. It seems like everybody from Woodbury is dead now, for sure.
Yeah, we didn't care about them anyway.
So Glenn somehow is back at the prison. He's been there the whole time, and he's up on a ledge of a bridge that seems to have blown off. Luckily, there's a door. Yeah. So he gets back in, finds some riot gear, finds a picture of Maggie, has a moment of contemplating.
The moment where he wakes up and she's sleeping in the picture, that was pretty cute. It was like they're together again. People
sometimes complain about how slow these episodes are, and that there are some scenes that aren't necessary, but I feel it needs to be slow because when we get that moment of, like in the last episode when Michonne reunited with Rick and Carl, it kind of felt earned, I guess. It's an odd thing to say, but they've been through this all these horrible moments. There's lots of uncertainty, lots of fear, lots of doubt, and it just feels like I understand the mood and the atmosphere better when it's this slow. So
I think one of the issues, though, is that the slowness of the pacing to me is not really a problem because you're right, it's a show that takes its time and that's fine. However, I want it to take its time getting somewhere and I want it to feel like it is moving forward.
Going somewhere.
Oh,
Terminus.
Where's that?
So yes, like those little touches are the parts that work.
Terminus, by the way, means like the last place, the end, the last stop.
Oh, I know, it has like this dark connotation. It'd be like if like, here's our map and it's Death Town or something like that. Like, can't it be like
Death
Hope
City, USA.
Or something? I don't know.
Terminus, the final point, the end point. That's where they're heading toward. And that's where Glenn and Tara, well, they don't, that's not where, but they find people who seem to be on the road to there, which is Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita, which are comic characters.
Are we supposed to assume that this is also where the radio transmission was coming from?
Because the radio said those who arrive survive, and that's what the sign said.
But we don't know at this point that the Abraham and the other people have anything to do with them yet.
Yeah,
we don't know that they came from there or anything like that.
I made an assumption there. I thought they were trying to get over there or something. But at least we know that Tyreese and company are on their way to Terminus, if that's good.
Yeah, and you made the good point of, so obviously a couple of times they go to the shot of that sign that says hitchhikers on the road could be inmates, escaped inmates, which is kind of cute considering that they escaped. But also that you pointed out that it shows that they're all going in the same direction, or at least most of them seem to be going in the same direction.
It's a visual point of reference because otherwise they could be on any road.
Any road, yeah, exactly. And so it does seem like we're building towards most of the survivors going to that place. Like we saw, it was hard to tell in the preview for the next episode, but you saw a lot of shots of Rick, and it could be that they met up with the Abraham group. It's not immediately clear. Like I didn't see them in the same shot, but we can't have too much longer of them all being separate because then you have too many different storylines.
Yeah, it's too many vignettes. I mean, the show does do vignettes, but this is just too many.
Yeah,
and
it took 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And it's all the same thing. It's all these two characters somehow find each other afterwards, which I'm going to use this as an excuse to vent about something about this show, which is if you're living in a prison and there's zombies attacking and you know that these bad guys from another town are going to come and try to take your prison, you come up with a plan of where you're all going to meet if the shit hits the fan. Yeah. I'm sorry, but everybody wandering around saying like, oh, well, we're never going to find each other and what's going to happen. It's like, have a rendezvous point. You guys are idiots for not talking about this before.
Perhaps they truly believed they would be there forever, like in Beth's diary.
After all the shit that they've gone through, they would at least have a plan B.
Yeah, and it's not like they had a plan B and man, there's just so many zombies we can't get to it.
Right.
There's some danger, but they can travel fairly freely. The fact that they didn't have like, oh, we'll meet back at the farm or at this house or whatever, that does seem a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Like even like I made the comparison in Battlestar Galactica, they always had coordinates to jump to if the Cylon shit hit the fan.
Exactly.
And they would definitely do something like that in this case.
Well, it didn't happen now.
Yeah.
But what are your guys' predictions for what will happen in the next episode?
I don't look. Obviously, I like that. So 2 of the things that I wanted seem to be coming true. One, that they have a place that they're actually going to, which provides some overarching plot structure, but also that they meet up with the Abraham and the other group that seem to have military hardware. They have this big truck, and it seems like it's building towards them integrating into a group that they won't be in charge of, which is what I've wanted now for like a half a season. And it's going to be interesting to see. Like I think most of them can do that, but I can't imagine Rick is going to be like, "Yes, Abraham. Yes, sir. I'll do what you want." And so it's going to be interesting to see how all of these disparate and in some cases psychopathic personalities fit in. Like, is Lizzie going to take orders from this guy? Is she going to bring down Terminus because she likes to feed zombies? That's the danger of bringing new people into a group.
Stranger danger.
All right, well, be careful what you wish for, and we will see you next time on What the Flick Reviews of The Walking Dead.